This isn't an ordinary school. Incidents of teachers jumping from buildings are frequent, and new teachers rarely last more than 3 days. As a result, the school is always looking for replacements. The new student teacher, Elizabeth Lizzie Schnabelstead, tries to get along with the students. She attempts to write her name with chalk but gets her hands dirty with some sticky substance. When she goes to wash her hands, the faucet breaks, soaking her completely. She grabs a towel to dry off, but it smudges her face with black paint and a burning sensation. Frustrated, Lizzie tries to leave, only to find her hand covered in something unpleasant on the doorknob. Unbeknownst to the students, someone who could handle them is about to enter the scene. Bank robber Zeki Müller has just been released from prison. After his release, he attempts to retrieve the money he stole to repay a debt, only to find it buried under a newly constructed gymnasium at the Göhte. To get his money back, Zeki applies for the position of a deceased janitor. On his first day of the interview, Zeki crashes into a row of bicycles at the entrance. "Hey, why are you so mean? Shut up." Surprisingly, there are quite a few people waiting for interviews. "Lady, what are you thinking? Applying for a janitor job?" he asks a woman nearby. She ignores him, revealing that this is actually the waiting area for substitute teacher interviews. The janitor interviews are in the backyard. Zeki doesn't mind since he just needs to get into the school. However, facing these well-dressed candidates, he decides to secretly activate the fire alarm, causing everyone to flee in panic. When the principal comes out for the interview, Zeki is the only one left. "Can you take a beating?" "Great, we need someone like you." "Zeki, you can start teaching tomorrow, but you'll need a diploma." "Where can I get one of those?" Zeki's demeanor fits perfectly here, when students block his way as he tries to leave. When he catches a student smoking at school. "How do you manage it?" Lizzie is stunned. "It's all in the wrist," Zeki replies casually. Lizzie's presence makes Zeki see a glimmer of potential in teaching. Using a study session as an excuse, he visits Lizzie's house one evening. He drugs her with a knockout dose, finds her teaching certificate, and prints a copy for himself. Just as he's about to leave, Lizzie's roommate and colleague returns. With no time to escape, Zeki strips down and pretends to have had a wild night with Lizzie. He sneaks out later, leaving no trace. The next morning, Lizzie notices her teaching certificate has been tampered with. She then blackmails Zeki, demanding her old 7th grade class back while Zeki takes over the unruly class 10B. "Fine, whatever, as long as I can dig for treasure at night." The following day, Zeki tries to take attendance, but the roster is in a cabinet. He tries to sit down but gets stuck to the chair, managing to free himself with great effort. "This is too much." Have you never encountered the underworld? Do you know what a black hand is? The next day, Zeki brings a paintball gun to class and threatens to shoot anyone who doesn't attend. This time, the students comply. Zeki declares they're not even good at being delinquents and orders a self-study session until the end of class. Lizzie walks in midway. "Your students are crying. Don't you care?" Later, Zeki is kicked out by his former gang boss and ends up staying at Lizzie's place. She agrees on the condition that Zeki helps the students reform. That same day, Zeki disciplines a disruptive student during swim class, but Lizzie scolds him. "You're supposed to teach, not torture," she exclaims. But what can he do? These students have no life goals. They'd rather sell drugs or live on welfare than lead a decent life. Zeki spends nights digging a tunnel to the buried money in the school's cellar. By accident, he uncovers a time capsule, which contains a letter from a young Lizzie, full of hopes and dreams. This stirs memories for Zeki, who was once a cheerful boy until a teacher falsely accused him of stealing money, pushing him onto the wrong path. Does he want to let his students end up like him? No. It's time for a transformative adventure. Zeki arranges an outdoor lesson, taking the students to meet his former criminal acquaintances. They see the squalid living conditions of the city's most notorious drug dealers, who can't function without daily injections. They visit retired sex workers, now living in misery and disease. After these visits, no one wants to pursue such a lifestyle. On the way back, Zeki buys pizzas for the students with money stolen from Lizzie. He encourages the top student to keep studying hard, promising a bright future. Unlike the girls downstairs who rob good students to get by, he makes her help a bullied student, insisting she must break free from her current circle and connect with achievers. Zeki also takes over the drama club, staging a modern version of Romeo and Juliet. Gradually, his students become more cheerful, curious, and enthusiastic about learning. Zeki and Lizzie grow closer, although he continues his nightly tunnel work, inching closer to the money. Midterm popularity polls crown Zeki as the most popular male teacher, while Lizzie's roommate wins among female teachers. Lizzie is devastated. Despite her efforts, Lizzie can't understand why she ranks lower than Zeki. Meanwhile, the principal wants to evaluate Lizzie's performance with Class 10B, a notorious group. Failure means termination. Concerned about Lizzie's reputation with Class 10B, Zeki leads them on an excursion to graffiti a train, where a student paints Fack Göhte. The next day, Lizzie bonds with the students. During the principal's evaluation, the students participate actively, showing their appreciation. Lizzie passes her teaching exam thanks to their support. Meanwhile, Zeki finally reaches the buried money. Overjoyed, he plans to leave the school and live lavishly but hesitates, realizing he cares for the kids and Lizzie. He continues teaching and helps the drama club win the silver medal in the national youth competition for their rendition of Romeo and Juliet. Zeke's efforts are recognized, and he gets a permanent teaching position. Lizzie, however, faces possible termination. One day, while Lizzie is leading the kids in gym class, a student accidentally creates a large hole in the floor, revealing Zeke's digging site. Lizzie finally learns the truth about her admired male teacher. A year ago, he was a convict who came to the school only to retrieve buried treasure. Lizzie is furious, realizing that Zeke's proximity to her was merely a cover for his treasure hunt, believing that his interest in her was never genuine. The next day, Zeki disappears from the school, leaving the tunnel unexplained. The students take the blame and beg Lizzie to find Zeki. He deceived me and risked your futures, and you still think he's great? At least he understands us and he's handsome. As the class prepares for their German exam, they take out their motivation photos. A student tells Lizzie that Zeke's photo is in his desk. She finds out that his motivation is her. A friend convinces her that Zeki wants to change for her. I'm his motivation? At that moment, Zeke's seductive accomplice arrives, delivering the stolen money and a letter. Zeki plans to leave the school, give Lizzie his permanent position, and use the money to fix the gym. He returns to his old ways, currently committing a robbery. But during the heist, Zeki sees the train with Fack Göhte graffiti and is overwhelmed by a sense of responsibility. Maybe I should be a teacher, he thinks, abandoning the robbery. He advises his partner to find a legitimate job and returns to Lizzie, confessing his feelings and presenting the childhood love letter she wished for. Lizzie accepts and they walk back to the school together, only to be caught by the principal. The principal insists Zeki stay, revealing that his class's recent test scores have dramatically improved. But I didn't even graduate elementary school, Zeki protests. That's okay, the principal replies, stamping some documents. Zeki graduates as a student and immediately starts his teaching job. Everything falls into place. And that's the wild ride of Fack Göhte. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more film summaries.